everyone, welcome to the EarlyON. We offer programs for families and children ages 0 to 6 in Brantford and Brant County.
I'm Ellie, and today I'm joined by my friends on the Brant FACS EarlyOn team to celebrate Solidarity Day.
We join our Six Nations friends in honoring Indigenous people. We celebrate the diversity of Indigenous cultures and the contributions and achievements of Indigenous people.
We are glad you are joining us to sing, read, and move about inspired by incredible Indigenous people from Brantford, Brant, and Six Nations.
We celebrate our friends at family gatherings.
Hi friends. For the Indigenous Solidarity Day, I would like to recognize Randy from Family Gathering. She provides lots of videos and helps us learn a new language by singing songs and listening to the stories that she tells. So today, we're going to try and sing a song about animals that stay outside. So let's begin. So the first animal is a cat, and it's called a dagoose. The second animal is a dog called a sowas. And the third animal is called a chitan, which is a bird. Dagoose could eat so meow, meow, meow. Dagoose could eat so meow, meow, meow. Dagoose could eat so stay. So us can eat nay, woof, woof, woof. So us can eat nay, woof, woof, woof. So us can eat nay, woof, woof, woof. So us can eat nay, stay. Cheep de adrano, chirp, chirp, chirp. Cheep de adrano, chirp, chirp, chirp. Cheep de adrano, chirp, chirp, chirp. Cheep de adrano, stay. Thank you, Randy, for letting us take part in learning a different language and providing stories for us to read along with you to learn about the Indigenous culture.
We celebrate Pauline Johnson. Pauline Johnson was a Mohawk poet, author, and performer. She was born at Six Nations on March 10, 1861. Pauline Johnson began writing poetry as a teenager. She was an Indigenous rights activist who fought prejudice, racism, and gender biases. She was known as the Mohawk Princess.
A poem by Emily Pauline Johnson called Goodbye.
Join in with a scarf.
Sounds of the seas grow fainter, sounds of the sands have sped. The sweep of gales, the far white sails, are silent, spent, and dead. Sounds of the days of summer murmur and die away, and distance hides the long low tides as night shuts out the day.
We celebrate Tom Longboat and Stan Jonathan.
I went to the Brantford and Area Sports Hall of Recognition at the Wayne Gretzky Center, and I learned about two amazing Indigenous athletes. The first one is Tom Longboat. Tom Longboat was one of the greatest long-distance runners of all time. He is a remarkable person who did a lot of sports, and he served selflessly in the Canadian Army. Longboat's career was so impressive that he only lost 3 races in his career. It is said that he beat everyone in his generation and set record after record. Let's try and run like Tom Longboat. Here we go. Okay, go, go, go. It is rumored that Tom Longboat once outran a horse in a 12-mile race. Whether that's true or not, he did earn bragging rights after winning many races and breaking numerous records. Longboat was one of the most celebrated pre-World War I Indigenous athletes. Whew. Let's learn about Stan Jonathan. This is the second Indigenous athlete I learned about. His name is Stan Jonathan, and he was an outstanding NHL offensive left winger and a tough player known for his penalty minutes, refusing to back down to anyone, even though he was only 5'8". He was born on the Six Nations of the Grand River, and he played most of his career with the Boston Bruins. He was signed in 1976, and he helped his team make the playoff finals that very same year. Let's be like Stan. Go back and forth. Pretend you're skating. Oh, down the ice. Here comes a puck. Whoa, 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 whoa. Side to side. I hope you enjoyed learning about these remarkable Indigenous athletes.
Who are Indigenous people that you celebrate? Maybe you celebrate Indigenous people who live far away, like
Monique Gray Smith is a mixed heritage woman of Cree, Lakota, and Scottish ancestry who lives on Lekwenen territory in British Columbia. She wrote You Hold Me Up and many other books.
We celebrate another Indigenous storyteller, Joseph Bruchak.
Hi, I'm Courtney. Today we're going to read The First Strawberries, a Cherokee story retold by respected elder of the Abenaki community, Joseph Bruchak. Long ago, when the world was new, the Creator made a man and a woman. The two of them were made at the same time so that neither of them would be lonesome. They married, and for a long time they lived together and were happy. Then one afternoon, the man came home from hunting and found that the woman had not yet begun to prepare their meal. Instead, she was out picking flowers. The man grew angry. I am hungry, he said in a cold voice. You expect me to eat flowers? Now the wife too became angry. She had picked those flowers to share their beauty with her husband. Your words hurt me, she said. I will live with you no longer. She turned to the west and began to walk towards the sun. Her husband followed her, but her steps were too quick. He could not catch her. He called her name, but she could not hear him. He went as fast as he could go, but his wife was much faster. The sun watched as the husband followed her. The sun saw how sorry the man was, and took pity on him. Are you still angry with your wife? Asked the sun. No, said the man. I was foolish to speak angry words, but I could not catch her to tell her I am sorry. Then I will help you, said the sun. The sun shone its light down on the earth in front of the woman. Where its light shone, raspberries grew. The berries were ripe and looked good to eat, but the woman paid no attention and then continued walking. The sun tried again. It shone down and blueberries grew. They glistened brightly in the sunlight, but the woman paid no attention to them. She only walked on toward the west, leaving her husband far behind. Now the sun tried a third time. Where its beams touched the earth, blackberries grew up. They were dark and plump, but the woman's anger was too great, and she did not see them. At last the sun tried its hardest. It shone light right down on the grass in front of the woman's feet, and strawberries appeared. They glowed like fire in the grass, and the woman had to stop when she saw them in front of her. She knelt down and plucked one and bit into it. She had never tasted anything like it before. Its sweetness reminded her of how happy she and her husband had been before they quarreled. I must gather some of this fruit for my husband, she said, and she began to pick the berries. She was still picking them when the man caught up with her. Forgive me for my hard words, he said to her, and she answered him by sharing the sweetness of the strawberries. So it was that strawberries came into the world. To this day, when the Cherokee people eat strawberries, They are reminded to always be kind to each other, to remember that friendship and respect are as sweet as the taste of ripe red berries. The end.
Let's make fried bread to celebrate.
Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you a quick, easy recipe for fried bread. You only need a few ingredients and they're really super tasty. The ingredients you'll need today are 3 cups of sifted flour. You will also need 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 to 2 tablespoons of baking powder. You're going to need some water and some vegetable oil to fry the bread. So first of all, we're going to take 1.5 cups of the sifted flour and add it to our bowl. Now we're going to add the other dry ingredients, which is the 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 to 2 tablespoons of baking powder. Now I can just kind of stir that together and add a little bit of water. So I'm going to add the water and mix until my dough becomes the consistency of paper mache or like white glue. There we go. So that doesn't look like dough, so I'm going to use some of the remaining flour and add to my mixture and stir it until I get the consistency I want. And the consistency that I would like is kind of like a squishy earlobe consistency. There, we have consistency of a squishy earlobe. Great. So I'm going to break off a piece of dough and then just squish it in my palm, flatten it out to about the size of my palm. Now I will put it in the frying pan and cook the bread. Hello there, I'm back. I fried my bread in the hot oil for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side, kind of flipping it over. It was done when it was golden brown, but I like mine a little bit crispy, but they are delicious. Add a little bit of your favorite topping, like blueberry jam or maple syrup, and they are tasty. Enjoy!
We celebrate you! Thanks for joining our EarlyON activity today.